One of our ACC Network tripleheader begins in Winston-Salem as the Wake Forest Demon Deacons host the Clemson Tigers. With Malcolm Huckabee, I'm Jay Alter. Clemson is coming off their second COVID pause, and the Tigers have not played in 12 days. Remember, during their first pause, they really struggled coming out of it on a 3-game losing streak. As you take a look at the season summary, they had just hit their stride, 3-0 in February, and then shut down again for 12 days. Malcolm, how do they get back to their winning ways?
Well, it's simple. Amir Sims, one of the most versatile players in college basketball. He's a guy that does a little bit of everything. He leads Clemson in 3 different categories: points per game, rebounds, and assists.
And we welcome our ACC Network audience that just watched Georgia Tech and Mercer. Malcolm Huckabee, Jay Alter with you. Game 1 of our ACC triple header. And this is the Clemson Tigers' first game in 12 days. Their second COVID pause of the season. They really struggled coming out of the first COVID pause on a 3-game losing streak. And Brad Brownell told us that he feels like this time around they learned from the first pause. They're more conditioned, they're worked on their fundamentals, and they are ready to go against Wake Forest here in Winston-Salem. Demon Deacons in white, Tigers in purple and orange, and we are underway in Winston-Salem. Terrific officiating crew: Teddy Valentine, Roger Ayers, and Pat Driscoll as we show you the Wake Forest starting lineup.
Jay, Clemson comes out in man-to-man. When we spoke with Steve Forbes, he said, look, they pose a different problem than NC State, a team that pressers. He said, Clemson is a very physical man-to-man team. We must handle their physicality.
That's what Wake Forest does really well. 3rd in the ACC in 3-point shooting. Isaiah Musius opens the scoring there. We take a look at the Clemson starting 5. Unaffected, even with the pause, those 5. And Clemson had really regained their form. They had won 4 of 5, including a 3-game winning streak. Joe Lunardi has them as a number 7 seed, and then they're paused for a second time. How do they get back to the winning ways today, Malcolm?
Well, I think it's going to start with Amir Sims. Amir Sims is the guy. How they defend him, I think that's going to be key defensively for them. And then, look, 3-point shooting. For Wake Forest, they're one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the ACC in terms of makes. So if you're Clemson, you must get out and defend the 3-point line against this Wake Forest team.
Oklahoma working on Sims, left it short. Amir Sims does it all for this Clemson team. The only player in the ACC who leads his team in points, rebounds, and assists. That'll stay Clemson's way.
And coming into this season, Jay, I felt Amir Sims would be a guy that would be in contention for Player of the Year in the ACC. For me, he is just so versatile. We talked about his numbers at the Open, leading his team, points per game, assists, and rebounds.
Nick Honor, who had the heroics in a game-winning shot against Georgia Tech, makes Clemson's first basket of the game. For Wake Forest, this is a team that went to Tallahassee, took Florida State to overtime. They were playing really well and rallied 3 wins in 6 ACC games, but they've sputtered in the last 2 games. Steve Forbes not happy with their effort against Duke or NC State. Looking for an improved performance this afternoon.
And the big number is turnovers. In particular against NC State, they had 19 turnovers, and NC State had 28 points off of those turnovers. They got to take care of the ball, but you're right, Jay. When they're on, they have been a very dangerous team.
Davian Williamson, everything but the finish. Wide open 3. Can't connect. Carter Witt, the freshman for Wake Forest, controls. Much needed headband to corral all that flow he's got going. He should be in high school right now, but Steve Forbes, taking advantage of the NCAA rules, has allowed him to graduate early. So he's a freshman now. He'll be a freshman next year and part of a first recruiting class for the first-year head coach Forbes.
Well, he's the point guard of the future, and you can see why Steve Forbes and staff are so excited about him.
The Bows had to throw it up there, gets a miss, and Mucius got the offensive rebound but couldn't put it up and in. Hunter Tyson leaves that short, so Clemson getting readjusted to playing for the first time in 12 days. Both teams starting slow offensively, Malcolm.
Yeah, and for Clemson, I think Amir Sims has got to be the person that touches the ball on almost each possession for Clemson. See if you can get Okwama away from the basket and then play from there.
Another three off the mark, but there to scoop it up and put it in, Hunter Tyson in perfect position for the basket and the foul.
That's a break for Clemson. Early on, Clemson shooting a lot of threes with not much success. This one right here doesn't even draw iron. I don't think anybody was expecting that. And Tyson right there for the rebound and finish. And I think that's the area where Clemson's going to have to continue to try to attack, because early on the three ball is not working for you.
Before the Tyson and one, these two teams combined for a 2 of 12 start to this game. Not unexpected considering Clemson's coming off their second COVID pause of the season, and Wake Forest has struggled to score the ball in the last 2 games. Which team will heat up first is the question. Mucius tripped up by a double team. Honor ripped it away. Up to Amir Sims. Amir Sims in attack mode and puts it in for 2.
That's why he's a matchup nightmare. Again, he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. That time in transition on the trail, showing off the handle.
Here's Mucius, and he's called for an offensive foul. And Clemson and Amir Sims off a 12-day pause. Shaking off the rust, Amir Sims, an early 7-3 lead. We welcome you back to Winston-Salem for Clemson and Wake Forest, all part of ACC's Unity Week. You see the 2 programs before the game joining the voices in the conference and across the country demanding racial and social justice. Unity Week in the ACC is until February 28th, but Malcolm talking to the coaches and the players around this league throughout the entire season. This is not just about a week or even a season. This is an ongoing commitment from these young men.
Yeah, and I think the key word commitment and also unity. So, again, they're using their platform to bring awareness to some of the issues going on, and I applaud all these young men and also the coaches.
Illegal screen, so that's an offensive foul. Clemson on a 7-0 run right now, which will be a good start for Brad Brownell. He was telling us during our Zoom meeting that he's a little weary coming off this second pause because of the 3-game losing streak following the first COVID pause of the season. And he said that he's taken a more active voice, trying to lead this team, motivate this team based off how they really struggled. They didn't look like themselves, Malcolm, coming off that first pause.
No, they didn't. And, you touched on it at the top where, said, look, we really went back to the basics. Conditioning was certainly something that they spent a lot more time on, and then just little things, passing, footwork, to make sure that they're not as obviously rusty as they were coming off the last COVID pause.
Yeah, Brownell telling us that Clemson did start practicing on Saturday, and typically they would get into a game plan, but before they did any of that, you said it, working on the fundamentals, defensive positioning, all the things that you usually do in preseason. Well, guess what? Preseason started again on Saturday to make sure that they were in rhythm for this Wake Forest game and the remainder of the ACC season.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, too, these coaches are all speaking. We spoke with Steve Forbes as well, too, and he said, look, all these coaches are communicating on different facts and also different ways to actually train and get your guys ready coming out of COVID pause. So certainly nothing normal about this year, but they're all trying to gain an edge and keep their guys sharp. So that way when they do come out of these pauses, they don't struggle on the court.
Shot clock reset to 20. Wake Forest has struggled. They made their first shot. They've now missed 6 and a couple of turnovers as well. They're going to tag Emmanuel Opomo on that foul.
And one of the areas Steve Forbes said his team needs to improve is on screen and rolls. Watch how they defend ball screens against Clemson this afternoon.
Battle for the board. Finally claimed by Jacoby Neat. Both of these teams have a lot of depth. We're only 6 minutes into this game. Both teams have played 9 guys already. Ten seconds to shoot. Neat puts it up himself, left it short. There's Steve Forbes, first-year head coach of Wake Forest. His team without a basket. It's 6 minutes right now, Malcolm. He had them playing so well offensively, put up 85 points in Tallahassee, take that talented Florida State team to overtime. What's been missing offensively since that game?
Well, I think the biggest thing really has been the turnovers. If you go back to the NC State game, certainly they did not handle the pressure well. We had the Duke game. So when you turn the ball over, you don't get into your offensive sets to be able to have guys like Massoud come off screens and knock down threes.
Much needed basket there. First points on the 10 last possessions for Wake Forest, and it's a 3. So just like that, back within 1. Looking for an immediate answer. Hunter Tyson comes up empty. Offensive foul called again. Those are the turnovers you were just talking about, Malcolm.
Yeah, that one obviously, it's not a live ball, but let's see. I mean, look, you got to come down under control. I mean, look, the ball's released, but you have to come to a jump stop jumper there. Did not turn over. And I think on the other end, Jay, Clemson, they're settling for jumpers, I think, way too early in the offense. Try to get the ball to the basket or in the paint.
Amir Sims, he makes it look so easy in the low post.
And that's where they need to continue to go. Don't settle for jumpers. Get the ball in the hands of your best player and then let him go make a play.
Rizzian DeBose passes off to Neat. 5 seconds to shoot. Neat springs to action. It might be too late. He didn't recognize the shot clock that whole possession, and it's 5 turnovers for Wake Forest now.
Yeah, Steve Forbes not happy with that. Too much dribbling. Need to get the ball swung around, but credit Clemson. They're doing a nice job denying and then also being physical on any down screens or ball screens, and they're disrupting the flow of the Wake Forest offense.
Hemingway, catch and shoot, and he buries it. Alex Hemingway, the sophomore sharpshooter, makes it a 12-6 advantage. side. Oguama goes through the double team, count it, plus the foul.
Great call by the refs. Again, I'm glad they did not go for the flop. Excellent patience on offense by Wake Forest.
Jay Alter, Malcolm Huckabee back with you in Winston-Salem. Clemson controlling a 12-8 advantage. This is game one of our monster triple header right here on the ACC network. Odd start time, Wednesday 4:30, but it's to accommodate this great slate of games. We got NC State taking on Virginia right after us, and then the nightcap, Florida State and Miami. You can check out 2 of the top 15 teams in the country tonight on the ACC network. And Oguama completes the and one, makes it a one-possession game. Wake has really struggled. Has only made 3 shots, turned it over 5 times, but yet back within 3. Here's Sims, lines up at 3 and hits it. Amir Sims showing the versatility in this first half.
Steve Forbes called him a matchup nightmare because of that right there. Great screener. Okay, talked about part of any Bigs game, and then he can pop back out and extend with his range.
Antonio fails to answer. He's dangerous from deep, but didn't show it there. Sims is 3 for 3, perfect from the field. Brad Brownell told us that he didn't want the senior to focus on being a leader out of the pause. Felt he did that too much after the first COVID pause. Just wanted him to focus on playing his game, and he has done that so far in the opening 10 minutes. Bo's pull-up pop comes up empty.
Yeah. This right here, again, off of a great screen. Want to get yourself open, a young player, set a good screen right there. Sims, pop back out, show off the range. And, Jay, that's one of the things that impresses me about him. He'll set great screens, he'll slip screens, and then he just understands how to read defenses.
It's interesting, Malcolm. Sims is a guy that flirted with the NBA draft, went through the process, but has joked that there really was no process. It was just a bunch of Zoom calls, couldn't really get a sense for what the NBA teams were looking for. They didn't even get to see him play as all the workouts were canceled. And he's a guy that if he plays like he has this season, he'll be playing for a paycheck.
No doubt. I think on the other end, if you're Wake Forest, you want to try to get Oguama some touches. Again, I've been so impressed with Oguama as a young big, in particular for his aggression. So try to go at Amir Sims, see if you can get him into foul trouble. He has not touched the ball on the last few possessions for Wake Forest.
He sets the screen there. And DuBose uses the screen right down the alley for an easy 2.
Well, DuBose will get the credit for the 2, but that's all set up by Oguama. He basically just cleared the lane for him. And DuBose smartly went down and shot the easy, uncontested layup.
Hemingway calling for it. Missed it. Here's Carter Witt in transition. Leaves it for Oguama. He lost the handle, goes up, and he's denied by the double team.
That's a missed opportunity. Beautiful pass by Carter Witt. Oguama just couldn't handle the pass, because if he did, it was an easy dunk. Bobble forced them into a difficult contested double team.
These teams haven't found their touch from 3 yet. A combined 4 of 18. Dawes collects it. 5 seconds to shoot. Clemson goes around the horn. And Nick Honor lost the handle.
You're right, Jay. Early on, a lot of substitutions. Both teams going deep into the bench, getting a lot of guys, in particular Clemson, and that would be the expected coming off the long pause, 12 days in between games. And so you know that's definitely a luxury that Brad Brownell has, having a deep bench.
The only player they're missing for this afternoon's action is highly touted freshman P.J. Hall, who is unavailable. But you should see 11 Clemson Tigers touch the court today. Not every ACC team has the ability to run 12 deep. But Brad Brownell has used that luxury into a 13-5 season. Clemson leading by 4 here at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We'll tell you more about the man that this arena is named after when we come back. Wake Forest plays all their home games at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum, better known as the Joel, but not many people outside Winston-Salem know who Lawrence Joel is, and he's the only Winston-Salem native to have been awarded the Medal of Honor. There he is with President Lyndon B. Johnson. He was the first living Black American to receive that medal since 1898. And he received it for saving 13 lives during the Vietnam War. 1965 came home to a deserved Medal of Honor. And credit to Winston-Salem when they were building this thing back in the late 80s to name it after Lawrence Joel, and also all veterans, as they've named the Veterans Memorial Coliseum here in Winston-Salem.
And simply put, thank you. Thank you to him for all the service, and obviously the many lives that he saved, but to all our servicemen, just, thank you. And, Jay, what an incredible story that is. And, for them to honor him, obviously the right thing to do, but I think we just educated some folks on the history of this place that all these young men are playing on right now.
How long have we been calling games in this Coliseum? We've said the name countless times, but did not realize who Lawrence Joel was until doing some research this week, and so glad I stumbled upon the story, and hopefully a couple people heard that one for the first time as well. Clemson's come out of this timeout. Nick Honor with 5 straight points, and it's the largest lead of the game for the Tigers at 9.
Well, I think they've gotten the cue. 3 of 12 from the three-point line. Clemson, not much success, but when they've gone into the paint, I think that's the better option for them. I think the same thing for Wake Forest. Try to get the ball in the paint. Don't settle for jumpers.
5 for 7 from 2, Malcolm. So that's a great point by you. As the Tigers might want to look inside. That's where they found their success. Thursday, women's basketball doubleheader right here on the ACC Network. It starts with Virginia Tech and Clemson at 6, and then Boston College and Syracuse is the nightcap at 8. That's tomorrow, right here on the ACC Network. Now, Malcolm, I feel like every time there's a whistle, somebody's checking in at the scorer's table between these two teams. They both run about 10 deep, and it's funny, sometimes depth, you may think that's a lot of talent that you've got to rotate through. That's not necessarily the case for Wake Forest, but Steve Wood has done a great job creating a team that's capable of using multiple different lineups throughout the game, and he certainly utilized that. Still looking for that best lineup, which is funny this late in February, but it's true. This team has been in evolution since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we speak with Steve Forbes, he said, look, obviously the lack of preseason for them, and then the pauses due to COVID, he's still figuring out his team, but make no mistake about it, he's done an absolute great job getting his team ready to play night in and night out. We've referenced some of the successes they've had. I think none better than going down to Florida State, taking that team into overtime. So he's still searching, but the main thing is that they continue to play hard.
They should have won that game. A stop away from closing it out. The talented freshman Scotty Barnes forced overtime, and then Florida State took it from there. That was a great pass inside. Exactly what Wake Forest needed to get going.
beautiful backdoor cut that time off a little rub screen, and excellent execution in their half-court set that time against this tough Clemson D.
Newman in traffic, a lot of contact, no call. Inside again, this is where Wake's had success. That one just off the rim for Isaiah Musius. Clemson takes a timeout. And we'll take you with them. Wake Forest looking for a spark on offense. They've struggled in this first half. Need more passes like that as the Demon Deacons are down 7. Clemson's first game in 12 days coming off their second COVID pause. And while they've struggled to find their offensive rhythm, still control a 7-point lead, Malcolm, because they've turned Wake Forest turnovers into some points. 6 turnovers, 10 points for Clemson off those turnovers.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the story of the game right there. Again, Wake's done some nice things when they've settled down, gotten into their half-court set. We've seen the previous play a little backdoor cut that led to a layup, but early on, the turnovers really have hurt them, and credit Clemson, they've capitalized off of those turnovers.
Nick Honor and Amir Sims have combined 6 of 7 from the floor. The rest of the Tigers just 2 of 12. Hunter Tyson comes up empty, so make it 2 of 13. No surprise, those 2 guys are the leading scorers for Clemson, but they've come out of the pause showing no rust for this Tigers team that's 13-5 in the number 7 seed in Joe Lunardi's latest bracket.
Something to watch off the ball, Jay. Watch how physical Clemson is on the cuts. They are bumping cutters, not letting them come off any screens clean. And that was something that concerned Steve Forbes, and that right there, he said, is what our guys are going to have to do. Individual plays. That time, Massoud with the beautiful turnaround jumper.
As the buzzer sounds, no less, and Wake Forest, for as much as they've struggled in this first half, it's just a 5-point game with 3:27 to play in this first half. That foul on the floor. Good time to remind you, Saturday, terrific lacrosse game right here on the ACC Network. Top 10 matchup between Virginia and Syracuse. They played 36 times, 18 wins apiece. That rivalry dates back to 1936. Looking forward to that one on Saturday. As lacrosse, basketball, baseball overlap. There's always something on the ACC Network this time of the year.
This right here, beautiful curl cut by Nick Honor, and a good offense by Clemson. Nice spacing. And on that right there, Wake Forest, you want to bump that curl cutter. Don't let Honor come off so clean. That breaks down your defense.
And Ishmael Massoud picks up 2 fouls in just 10 seconds. The sophomore. Now, Malcolm, you mentioned the Tigers' physicality a couple times this afternoon. Steve Forbes said in our Zoom interview with him yesterday, they might be the most physical team in the ACC. Is that just this year's makeup, or is that a Brad Brownell thing that usually his teams are more physical?
Oh, that's Brad Brownell, and Steve Forbes mentioned that and said, look, we game plan for that. Just watch right here. They're bumping guys, any Wake Forest player that tries to come off the screen. And he said, look, we're going to have to play through that, be sharp with our cuts, and be strong with the ball.
Sims calling for the ball, posted up, and threw it away. He knows it was a bad pass, too.
That's great post defense that time by Wake. Again, moving on a string. Steve Forbes has to be pleased with that defensive possession.
Mucius with under 5 to shoot. Foul called. It was funny, Malcolm. I've been watching for the bumping, the physicality on defense, and you saw it on that last play. Wake Forest player even hit the floor because of all that physicality on the cuts.
Yeah, they are. And the thing, though, that I am really impressed with, and the progression of Carter Witt. Again, it may not show up in points, but how he's handled pressure. He's playing a lot more free, a lot more confident, it looks like. And again, you can tell the future's very bright. He's going to have a nice career at Wake Forest.
Everything but the finish. Read it really well, Jalen Johnson, but just couldn't get the touch he needed. 2 minutes left of this first half. Clemson a commanding 7-point lead. Off the screen, Hemingway hits it. Alex Hemingway, his second 3 of this first half, gives Clemson a 10-point lead. Timeout, Steve Forbes. Wake Forest down 10. Wake Forest, a 5-point swing there. Jalen Johnson misses a layup that just falls off the rim, and Alex Hemingway comes back the other way and drills a 3. Just like that, Clemson largest lead of the game, 10.
And Steve Forbes not happy. There was a breakdown that time on the pin down. Hemingway, there was supposed to be a switch or a hedge. Neither happened, and Hemingway came up clean for a wide open look from behind the arc.
Good pass inside. Oguama couldn't handle it, though. 10 seconds to shoot. Here's the double team. Oguama fighting through it. Trying to pass out of it. It's tipped by Alamir Dawes. Great defense from the Tigers. Fly trapped through the spin cycle, and he's fouled. Coming up on the State Farm halftime report, Packer and Durham talk about which ACC teams are getting hot at the right time, right at the end of February. I'll pose the question to you, Malcolm. Who's the team you would not want to play in the ACC right now?
Duke. Simple. I mean, the way they're playing right now, I think the emergence of Mark Williams, they're big. His physicality, we saw it on display against this Demon Deacon team. Wake Forest, he just frees up and allows Matthew Hurt to slide over to the 4 there. Playing really well to go along with their backcourt as well. They're a team, I think, that's peaking at the right time.
A 7-0 run for the Tigers. 27-15 lead, and they turn on some full court pressure. You rarely see this from Brad Brownell's team, but trying to capitalize on Wake Forest turnovers in this first half. Oguama on Sims. Called for the travel. Great defense from Amir Sims.
Yeah, that's a big turnover, and I think if you're Wake Forest right now, look, 55 seconds to go. You want to try to get this thing to single digits going into the half. So you need to get a stop here and see if you can get a couple of possessions, or at least one, where you can get this thing back to single digits.
And Wake Forest has more turnovers than made baskets in this first half. That's not the recipe to win. Pull up Pop Johnson, that goes begging. They can't hit anything right now.
Yeah, missed opportunities. They've had some clean looks. They've had a couple of cutters going to the basket, just unable to convert. And looks like they're going to go into the half down at least 12.
Hunter Tyson rocks the rim on a great pass, and it's all Clemson to close out this first half. Now this Tigers team ends the first half on a 9-0 run, and defensively, Brad Brownell was worried about the defense coming out of the COVID pause. Well, Wake Forest, their fewest points scored all season long in this first half. This halftime report is presented by State Farm. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. halftime lead for Clemson. The Tigers coming off a 12-day COVID pause, and Tigers head coach Brad Brownell told us he was worried with the defensive fundamentals returning, like they failed to bring back from the pause earlier in the season. But Malcolm, Brad has to be happy with how his defense looked in that first half.
Yeah, it was the key to the game in that first half. They had 12 points off of turnovers. They did a nice job taking Wake out of their half-court sets, and then they were able to convert on the other end and convert those stops into offensive points.
Does not drop for Amir Sims. He put together a terrific first half. And the big comparison between this game, the first game out of the second pause, to the first pause is, look, it's going to be there. When the Tigers struggled like they did coming out of that first pause, a 3-game losing streak after a team that was 9-1, people are going to wonder how they react to this 12-day pause. And so far, so good from Sims and this Tigers team. Sims calling for the charge there, did not get it.
And to start the second half, Jay, I think Wake has the right plan. Go down low, get the ball to either Oguama or try to get some dribble drives. Don't settle for jumpers. Again, in that first half, they really struggled shooting the ball from the three-point line. 2 of 11, 18%.
Right on cue, Isaiah Musius delivers.
Well, it was so much for my analysis. Go ahead and fire up a three. But, look, they're going to have to make some individual plays like that. And that's what Steve Forbes said. Look, Clemson does a good job taking you out of your sets. We need guys just to step up and make some tough contested shots.
Great defense from Odi Oguama. You have watched the sophomore big man grow up this season. He's taken on a future NBA player, and Amir Sims are going toe-to-toe with him.
I love his energy and effort on both ends. And this right here, again, not bad D. That's just a tough contested three. And, back to my point on Oguama, look, I love the energy that he brings defensively and offensively. He'll crash the boards, brings that physical mindset to the game. Future very bright.
Here's Musius again, lines up a three, misses that one. Honor left open for three. He'll usually make you pay. Not that time, though. Witt decides to jack it up. No good. Wake is settling for that three-point shot, Malcolm, and you said you want to see them get it inside more, failing to do so to start the second half. Right inside to Sims, and that's just too easy.
Great execution by Clemson. And back to your earlier point, look, I don't mind threes if they come off dribble drives and kicks. I think what's happening, though, is they're shooting contested threes, really not off of any ball movement. That's problematic, in particular when you're shooting a low percentage.
Clemson held Wake to under 25% from the field in that first half. The defensive intensity has returned after the 12-day pause. Tough shot. Davian Williamson nails a contested three.
And although that was a contested, again, that's off of a dribble drive. That's ball movement. You don't mind that one. You just don't want it coming off of no swings or no passes and a guy shooting a contested three.
Honor comes off the screen, bumped, and will head to the line for two.
This right here, again, Carter Witt, really love how he has grown this year. Obviously a very young player, but that's a heads-up play. Dribble drive, baseline, find your teammate in the corner for a three ball. And every game he continues to do something a little bit better than he was doing the last game. And, he's gaining some valuable experience in his first year with Wake Forest.
Nick Honor, the Fordham transfer, he was the hero the last time Clemson was on a basketball court. Hit that game winner to beat Georgia Tech at the buzzer. Clemson was rolling, undefeated in February, 3-0. They had won 4 out of 5. They had fully recovered from that first COVID pause where they had lost 3 in a row, regained that rhythm at the top of the ACC, and then boom, right on another 12-day pause. And Brad Brownell said, no doubt about it, it was frustrating, but we have to respond. And they've certainly responded well in this game against Wake Forest. A 12-point lead early in the second half. Five seconds to shoot. Massoud passes off. Williamson's got to go up with it. He does. They called for a foul with 1 second left on the shot clock.
And not a good foul by Hemingway. That time, shot clock winding down. You just want to make him shoot a tough, contested runner. Certainly do not want to put him on the free throw line.
Williamson, a Winston-Salem native who Steve Forbes brought with him from East Tennessee State. He was part of Forbes' team that went 30-4 a year ago, won the SoCon. They were ready to do some damage in the NCAA tournament before it got canceled. Then Steve Forbes takes the Wake Forest job, brings Williamson home to his native Winston-Salem, and he's proved he can play in the ACC. Hard foul underneath will send Jonathan Bair to the foul line.
And Jay, this is twice now in this game. Steve Forbes has changed up his D, and they've gone to a 2-3 matchup zone. Now, was it effective for a stretch in the first half? That time, though, Clemson very patient in the zone, and because Amir Sims is such a good passer, he's able to flash into a soft spot and make a nice little interior pass.
Clemson is perfect, 8 for 8 from the foul line. That rattles in for 9 for 9. And that full court pressure returns for this Tigers team. You don't often see it.
Well, the thing that's impressive, Carter Witt has done a nice job. Turnovers in the full court really has not been an issue for him. He's handled Nick Connor's pressure.
Williamson on the drive, weaves through 2 Clemson defenders. Layup just didn't fall. Wake is at 3 or 4 layups roll off the rim tonight.
Yeah, absolutely what I was thinking. Some missed opportunities. A good offense. You can't ask for a better shot. Williamson just unable to convert with the layup.
Sims muscles his way through a double team. A lot of contact, no call. It'll stay Clemson's ball when we come back. Tigers comfortably in the driver's seat. A 12-point lead. Well, this is just game 1 of a terrific triple header tonight on the ACC Network. Right after us, NC State taking on number 15 Virginia, and then number 11 Florida State against Miami to cap off the night. Malcolm Huckabee, Jay Alter with you. End of February, Malcolm, nothing better than ACC games, and credit to the league to reschedule and get as many games in as possible. So you might see a couple of more afternoon starts to accommodate all the games here at the end of the regular season.
And we've spoken with a lot of these coaches around the ACC and the country, and Jay, I've been impressed and amazed at the job that the leagues have done, the commissioners, and these coaches. But obviously, I think a lot of credit goes to these young men out here making sacrifices to make sure that these games are played. So, again, my hat's off to them, and really a great job of them. Everybody making sure and doing everything they need to do to ensure we get games in.
And Brad Brownell said before the season, the NCAA said you need to play at least 13 games to qualify for the tournament. So that was always the magic number. He said, we've been fortunate even through 2 COVID pauses. This will be our 19th game of the season. Knock on wood, we'll get 20 and hopefully 25 once you got the ACC and the NCAA tournament. Almost double that 13 number. Hemingway, quick release, and he hits it the smooth stroke of Alex Hemingway, and that's his third three.
Steve Forbes called a timeout in the first half because there was no hedge and also communication on Hemingway coming off a screen. He's the one guy for Clemson. You have to stay home on him. That's what he's out there to do, stretch the D. Can't give him any airspace.
Mucius on the drive, count it, plus the foul. Isaiah Mucius trying to spark this Demon Deacons offense.
That's a big-time move right here. Little head fake. You got to respect this jumper. Take the hit. Great body control and concentration. And you're right, that's a big bucket for Wake Forest. See if that can spark a little run.
Mucius with a team-high 10, looking to complete the three-point play.
Brad Brownell had high praise for Mucius. And he's done some really good things, I think, defensively as well, too. Nice job on the defensive glass.
Williamson straight to the rim in attack mode and draws the foul. Wake Forest finally getting into the paint in the second half, and it's paid dividends when they do.
Right on cue, you're right. In the first half, really shot a lot of threes, Wake Forest. And then second half, the commitment to get to the basket. Don't shy away from the contact. Williamson going right into the bigs. That's how you get yourself to the free throw line.
Mentioned earlier, Williamson making the transition from the SoCon to the ACC. There's been a bunch of guys, Carlik Jones, Keve Aluma, that have gone from the mid-major level to the ACC. And not only have they fit in, they've risen above and they've become stars in this league.
They're making it look easy. I mean, those SoCon guys, those three names to go along with Williamson, they fit right in, and they are doing some damage in the ACC.
Great pass from Sims, wide open three. Nick Honor skies up for the rebound, and he puts it up and in. All 5'10" of Nick Honor grabs the rebound and cashes in on the offensive glass.
Just when Wake was trying to cut it to single digits, Honor with the big-time offensive rebound and putback.
Pursued, contested three, well short. Sims calling for it. Finally, after some patience, Nick Honor finds him on a beautiful pass, and Amir Sims, again, an easy layup for the senior.
Unselfish play by Nick Honor. He could have easily shot that for himself. Saw his teammate Amir Sims had a better look. Beautiful execution in the half court by Clemson.
Sood lines up with three. No good. Sims pulls it down. He looks to push the tempo immediately. Clemson running and gunning. Clyde trapped the finish. Largest lead of the game for Clemson. The Tigers are getting ready to roll. Into this game, a lot of concern. How would Clemson look coming out of the pause? And Malcolm Huckabee, they've looked great.
I mean, so much for them being rusty. Unselfish play right here in transition. Amir Sims gives it up. And, you know, I think the big thing when we asked Brad Brownell, what did he learn from the first time they came out of the pause? He said, look, we did not focus enough on these guys just playing, conditioning, and then some of the fundamentals. He said, look, we scrapped doing any game planning. Anytime we had a chance to get these guys on the court, whether it was 2 days, 3 days, we focused on the conditioning and then also some of the little things, and it has paid off. This time they look much better coming out of the pause.
In 28 minutes of play, only 9 made baskets for Wake Forest. That defensive fundamentals that Brad Brownell was worried about, no need. And another great defensive stop there, although Musius collects it and cashes in.
Well, he has been the one bright spot for Wake Forest. Isaiah Musius continues to get after it on both ends, that time on the offensive glass.
Musius with 5 field goals. All of Wake Forest's team has the other 5. So he's matched the rest of his teammates in what has been a slow offensive game for the Demon Deacons. Very rare you see Amir Sims come up empty in the low post. And we step aside again. Sims and Clemson leading by 14 almost midway through the second half. Midway through this second half, we welcome you back to Winston-Salem for ACC Unity Week, game 1 of our triple header on ACC Network, and all part of the ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Injustice in conjunction with its member institutions. Malcolm Huckabee, Jay Alter with you. Clemson's come out of this 12-day pause, and they are bringing it on the defensive end. Wake Forest has not found a rhythm all afternoon long. What's the key to the way they play D, Malcolm?
Well, right now, though, I think if you're Wake Forest, you're still hanging around in this game. I think the key has been points off of turnovers in that first half for Clemson, and then their ability to take Wake out of their offensive sets and the half court.
Odie Oguama on the floor, tried to hand it off to Jalen Johnson, and he lost it.
And Jay, the weird feeling in this game, it feels like it's a 20, 30-point game. It's only a 14-point game. So again, Wake Forest still within striking distance. I think, though, the big issue for them has been defensively. It's been a little too easy at times for Wake.
And a timeout called underneath by Clyde Trapp. Clemson's got him. Still 2 remaining, 10:02 remaining. Great point by you, Malcolm, because it does seem like Clemson's up by 20, 25 points, but it's only a 14-point game for as much as Wake Forest has struggled offensively. Couple of stops, couple of points, but they're right back in this with a single-digit game.
Yeah, no doubt.
During this timeout, you know, we told you it's ACC Unity Week. How about the Wake Forest Trailblazers? Not just here in Winston-Salem, but a lot of these players that broke barriers did it not only at Wake Forest, but in the ACC. And Charlie Davis, that we spoke about during the Duke broadcast last week, the first African-American ACC Player of the Year in basketball. But how about in football? Jim Caldwell, the first African-American head coach in the ACC in 1993 for Wake Forest.
Yeah, 2-time Super Bowl champ, and I think that's a little bit more of education for folks watching this game. As we were digging into this story, I did not realize and wasn't aware that Jim Caldwell started. He was at Wake Forest as a coach, so just love hearing these stories and encourage anybody to go to the undefeated.com to hear more stories like this one.
Musius, he's been the only hot hand for Wake. Has accounted for half their made baskets, but comes up empty there. Great feed inside. Great block from behind, but a foul called. Late call there on Ishmael Massoud.
Well, this is a great slip of the screen. Again, looked like he was going to set the screen, broke it off, and then slipped right down. The Wake defense wasn't ready for it, and Sood had no choice but to foul to break up the Shore deuce.
Amir Sims being attended to by the trainer on the Clemson sideline. Tomorrow, women's basketball doubleheader. Virginia Tech take it on Clemson at 6, and then right after, Boston College and Syracuse tips off at 8, right here on the ACC Network. Jonathan Baer at the foul line makes both of them. The senior, 2 ACL tears in his career in a year where we've had to use the word resilient. Certainly this Clemson team has had to come back from 2 COVID pauses. Nobody knows that word better on this Tigers team than Jonathan Baer.
Yeah, it's a great story. And just for him to be able to be back out in the lineup for Clemson really is a bonus for them. All he's had to go through. A testament, as you said, to his resiliency.
Now, Brad Brownell said resilient. He uses the word sacrifice. Clemson grit, which is just part of their identity, their culture here under Brad Brownell in his 11th season. And it's all had to been used during this season. And a lot of fans, you know, you read the message boards, Twitterverses, they were worried how this Tigers team would look coming out of the pause. 3-game losing streak after the first COVID pause, and an 18-point lead on the road at Wake Forest is certainly a great way to establish this team back. And hopefully they're not on pause anymore throughout this regular season. Ian DeBose has been quiet, passes off for Williamson. Davian Williamson on the drive. They call a blocking foul underneath on Hunter Tyson. Davian Williamson at the foul line when we come back under 8 minutes to play, and Clemson has its largest lead of the game, 18. During the ACC tournament, you can download the ACC 3-Point Challenge app presented by New York Life to help benefit the local Boys and Girls Club. Score points for your school, and after the tournament, the local Boys and Girls Club will receive a donation from New York Life based on their affiliated ACC team's final 3-point ranking. Well, luckily, we're not doing the 3-Point Challenge tonight because both teams have struggled. Clemson 5 of 19, Wake Forest 4 of 19, and I don't know what you would define the Demon Deacons' identity as, Malcolm, in their first year, but one of the themes is they're a pretty good 3-point shooting team, but they have struggled tonight.
Yeah, really, both teams below 27%, but you know, credit Clemson's defense. They came into this game knowing, look, Wake came into this one third in the ACC, close to 9 threes made per game. When we spoke with Brad Brownell, the emphasis leading up to this game was defending the 3-point line. No uncontested jumpers. They were physical with them. And look, I think it wore Wake out. They looked a little fatigued in the second half, and a lot of their short shots were short. So combination of good defense and a little fatigue by Wake, and you'll have those shooting numbers.
It certainly, you may think Clemson would be the fatigued team coming off the 12-day pause, but Brad Brownell's ability to play 12 guys, he's played 11 today. Those short rotations have paid off. Deep 3 from Honor. He hoisted at the end of the buzzer. Just lost track of time, looked up, saw 1 second, had to heave.
And what a block out by Isaiah Musius. That was an excellent block out to finish off that play.
So right now, as we take a look at bracketology at the end of February, Joe Lunardi has Clemson projected as a 7 seed. Malcolm, when you take a look at the Tigers comfortably in the NCAA tournament, what's the strength of this team in March?
Well, it starts with Amir Sims. Again, he is a matchup problem for most teams. He's a guy where you put a smaller player on him, he'll take him down low in the block. You take a bigger player on him, he can certainly create matchups with his handles. And then I think, role players. Hemingway showed his ability to stretch the D tonight. Clyde Trapp, Nick Honor, those guys, I think those guys are the key. If they can knock down enough perimeter shots, you know they're going to be sound defensively. I think it's going to come down, though, to their perimeter shooting. They can knock down shots. They're a very dangerous team.
Foul called on the rebound as Amir Sims was shoved off the ball. You mentioned Alex Hemingway. He's had 4 threes tonight for Clemson, leads them in 3-pointers against Wake. It's funny, Brad Brownell was telling us on our coach's call yesterday that he grew up in Indianapolis a year younger than Hemingway's father, and they were teammates, but not on the basketball court, on the soccer pitch.
That's what I say. Hey, what position did you play? He's like, listen, I was a goal scorer. I don't know what they named me, but I just wanted to score goals. And we laughed about how obviously that's a great base, playing some soccer, for the footwork for any basketball player. Certainly another great side story.
Amir Sims almost took the rim off. He didn't get the 2 points, though. Great feed inside. Clemson's passing has been terrific tonight.
That's all set up. Hemingway, we talked about his 3-point shooting. Nice job moving without the ball.
Sims pushing the floor again. He's a really good ball handler for his size, too. That's why NBA scouts are so hot on Amir Sims.
And this right here, Jay, great ball movement, but this is a great cut by Alex Hemingway. Again, set it up because he's knocked down 4 threes in this game. You have to respect his jumper. Ran him off the 3-point line, but he makes a nice backdoor cut. And you're right, the passing has been pinpoint for Clemson in this second half. On the other side right now for Wake, again, the turnovers have not been an issue. They've had some pretty good looks. They've just been unable to convert.
Pull up pop from Witt. There's a lid on the rim right now for Wake Forest, and it's been like that since the beginning of the game. And in 35 minutes, they've only managed 32 points. Sims open for 3.
Clemson continues to be physical on the cuts. Anytime Wake's trying to come off a curl or any type of backdoor cut, guys are bumping cutters.
Wake's been a pretty good offensive team this season. Their season low is 54. They are well shy of that. This is a team that went into Tallahassee and put up 85 on Florida State. And since that loss in overtime, they have lost all their confidence. A tough loss against Duke. They looked out of their element against NC State and now in jeopardy of a 4-game losing streak. How does Steve Forbes knock them out of this funk?
Well, I think some of it has to do with the matchups. Again, NC State's a team that's just going to pressure you the whole game. They're aggressive in the passing lanes. They did not handle the pressure well. Turnovers in that game.
They've failed to handle Clemson's defensive intensity tonight, and Amir Sims as well. He's doing everything, an assist there. Tigers up big. Check out the best stuff that happened earlier, brought to you by Papa John's.
Well, Jay, it's been all defense for Clemson. You look at these shooting numbers for Wake Forest. They're shooting 23% from the floor and 18 from the three-point line. Credit Clemson's defense. They've made it difficult all afternoon long. Right here, double team, rotations on point, and then they've been able to convert on the other end. And Brad Brownell was concerned about how his team would fare defensively coming out of the pause. I would say they passed that test with flying colors.
Now the fear came because in 3 straight games coming out of the first COVID pause, they allowed 80 or more. This is a team that usually holds teams under 60. Well, if defensive intensity was the message coming into this game, Malcolm, boy, did the Tigers deliver for their head coach, Brad Brownell. He told us during our Zoom conversation with him that he's had to be more vocal. Doesn't always want to be the fiery guy in practice, but he said how poorly they played during that 3-game losing streak out of the first COVID pause. He needed to let them know, and he wanted a senior like Amir Sims, who usually tries to be that vocal leader. He said, you don't worry about the leadership. You worry about playing basketball. And certainly that has paid off. A 20-point lead on the road in their first game back after a 12-day absence.
And on the other end, for Steve Forbes, again, for him, look, he makes no bones about it as you take a look at Hemingway, who has just continued to be on fire from beyond the arc. Look, he's not a big moral victory guy. And yes, we've talked about how they took Florida State to overtime, a game where, he felt, look, we had a really good chance to win. But they have to get back on track. And I think the biggest thing is the slow starts. Again, in the first half, the turnovers. I believe Clemson had 12 points off of turnovers in that first half. You just can't dig yourself a hole and expect to come back against teams that are well coached like Clemson.
Now Friday night, we've got bald men not on campus, 10 Eastern time. Jay Billis, LaFonso Ellis, Seth Greenberg previewing the ACC slate of weekend games and the latest news from around the conference. Get ready for some ACC basketball. Down the stretch they come in conference play with bald men not on campus.
Brad Brownell goes to his bench.
And Williamson, an easy scoop and score. Where does Clemson go from here? They'll be 14-5, 8-5 in the ACC. What's the ceiling for this Tigers team, Malcolm?
Well, I think it's definitely a team that can make some noise in the NCAA tournament. Again, Amir Sims, to me, one of the most complete players in college ball. He creates matchup problems. I think it's going to come down to the role players. Again, Hemingway tonight was huge. Clyde Trapp, Nick Honor, those type guys, I think those are going to be the guys that are going to determine how far they go. And if they can knock down shots to go along with their defense, they're very physical, they're a very well-coached team. But my only question mark on them is can they be consistent enough from the perimeter?
Now to recap their season, a 9-1 start, including a 4-game winning streak, then COVID pause number 1. They come out with 3 losses, but then they really rebound, win 4 or 5, 3 in a row, and then comes pause number 2. So you talk about their consistency. Their season has been very inconsistent, but when they're playing their best, Malcolm, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're a team that can absolutely win the ACC tournament when they're at their best.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt. And look, obviously, right now, if I'm a betting man, I'm looking at Florida State as the team to beat. But I'd certainly throw Clemson, Virginia Tech in the mix. A team like Georgia Tech when they're on. So again, there are plenty of quality teams in there, and Clemson's right in the mix for a team that could win the ACC tournament. Guys, though, still continue to play hard. And look, that's been the theme. Nobody is going to question of the effort by this Wake Forest team. But Steve Forbes has been open with us about it. He's like, look, I am not a moral victory guy. Not at all. I'm not pleased with how we've executed as of late. And ball security has been an issue for them. And obviously, in the NC State game, the turnovers really hurt them. Tonight, again, you got to credit Clemson. They did a good job defensively, and I think they just wore them out in that second half. That's why you're seeing some of these shooting numbers that we've seen from Wake in the second half.
Wake shooting a season low 26% from the floor. If they don't score, this will only be the fourth time in the last 10 years they've been held under 40. And that is going to happen as Clemson comes back from a 12-day COVID pause and answers all the questions. Brad Brownell's team a convincing 60-39 victory to improve to 8-5 in ACC play.
It was all defense for Clemson. Yes, they had some balance. Offensive numbers. Hemingway shot the ball lights out, but make no mistake about it, this game was won by Clemson on the defensive end. They dominated Wake Forest, held them below 40 points.
After Brad Brownell's team came out of their first pause on a 3-game losing streak, allowing 80 points each in all those games, they held Wake to under 40 tonight. Answered all the questions. Clemson a convincing 60-39 win in Game 1 of our triple header on the ACC Network. NC State, Virginia is next. But for us in Winston-Salem, Malcolm Huckabee, Jay Alter, our terrific ACC Network crew, we will say goodbye. Stay tuned. More ACC hoops headed your way.